what superheroes represent today for me is very symbolic. Like it's like an innate goodness that people have. Like I like the way a lot of superheroes have a secret identity. Like a lot of Marvel superheroes I find very relatable. So I'm going to use Spider-Man as an example here. Spider-Man is an ordinary, average person who's very relatable, but at the same time it's the sense of responsibility that he has more than his superpowers that drive him. And I think that's very important. My first exposure to comic books or superheroes in general, it was how a lot of people that are into them now and that are in my same age bracket, the 20 to 30 year olds, was the old cartoons, the old X-Men cartoon and the Spider-Man cartoon. I remember watching them on the den when I was young, and I would talk about them in my uncle's house. And my uncle was a humongous comic fan. So he said, if you love the cartoons, just read this. And he gave me and my brother stacks of old comics, and he used to tell us like different stories about the different universes of the X-Men and things, and how things were so much better than they were in the cartoons, and like that really got us into them. There's one comic that I can think of that my friend gave me a loan of. It's called 1985. It's about the real world, shall we say, real world, and a boy who reads comics, and he reads about all the old Marvel superheroes, and he goes to comic shops and buys them, but he has a very mundane life. And not just that, he's a lot of problems in his life. His parents are separated and things, but it was very relatable to me because again, he was reading the comics that I actually used to read as a kid. But in that comic, there's a moment when the villains from the Marvel universe get brought into the normal universe, and real people start dying, and it's quite horrific. It's not like it is in the comics where people get hurt and nobody dies, but like civilians die and they get drowned, and it's very realistic and very full on. A great moment where you see Captain America's shield hit off a few villains, and the page is a double page spread of all the old superheroes and all their old costumes and all standing together, and they're going to do the battle cry of Avengers Assemble, but Captain America says Avengers, and the little kid who's Toby puts up his hand, he says Assemble. And it's just this tremendous moment of, it spoke to me volumes, like, because like I could be that kid. Like if this happened to me, I would be the kid standing there saying Assemble, thinking I was great with these just mythic heroes beside me. It's brilliant. I love that moment so much, and like the first time I read it, I had to put the comic down with like goosebumps. It just blew me away. Like I love it so much. I would recommend anybody to read it. Like I love it. My favourite comic book character is Iron Fist. It's a guy called Danny Rand. He's a 33-year-old kung fu warrior, and nobody really knows who he is. He's not really popular. He's more of a cult fan. He's 33, so he's not a young superhero. He's a guy just trying to live his life, and I guess this is something that I can relate to a bit more, maybe because I'm now a bit older than when I read comics when I was young. But what I like about Iron Fist is that it's kind of, as I said, he's lost. He doesn't know what he wants to do in life, and I mean, who hasn't been at that moment at some point where they just don't know what they want to do, And what I like about Iron Fist is that he does always try and do what's right. And it's like I was talking about with the whole symbolism, and there's an innate goodness to do with superheroes, and that's what I like. No matter how bad things get or how bad things are, they always try and do what's right. And I think that's a very important thing with regards to superheroes in today's world, because with movies like the Avengers coming out, with movies like The Dark Knight, comics are becoming way more mainstream, and a lot more people are reading them. Like a lot of kids are reading them now, and a lot of kids who wouldn't have read beforehand are now picking up comics and getting into them. So there's a huge impetus now being put on comics as to what they should show, as what kind of heroes they should portray. Like, I mean, do they want people to act like this in real life? Do they want people to follow examples? It's like I was saying earlier again about Captain America, Spider-Man, even Danny Rand, as I was saying. Like, there's many moments in my life when I've come to a crossroads of what to do, and I think back into a moment in Civil War where Captain America references a speech by a president, and it's something like when everybody tells you to do something, you just do what you want yourself, And Captain America tells Spider-Man something like, When the mob and the world are against you, you need to plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth and say, no, you move. And I literally try and live my life by that creed. And the ironic thing is, as I said, it was a historical figure that said this, a president or something, I don't exactly know. And that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't know the original person who said it, but I can quote it because Captain America said it.